Well, good morning, good morning, good morning. I hope everyone is having a phenomenal day today. It is Tuesday, and we are feeling, I don't know, how are we feeling? I'm feeling a little sad. Yesterday, Malcolm Jamal Warner, we found out he passed away. I'm an 80s baby, raised in the 90s, and literally could not believe what I saw yesterday. So, shout out to him, to his family, keeping them in prayer, keeping his family, his friends, his fans. I think everyone kind of felt like they lost a cousin yesterday. They kind of felt that way because we just grew up. Um, we grew up watching him. So I definitely wish this story had turned a different way. But yeah, I can't say I'm like super happy, but I am very, very sad about what happened to Malcolm Jamal Warner yesterday. So this message, let me give you all the background. This message that I have here is a message that I started to hear. Excuse me, I have like a little cut on my hand. So I'm putting on like the little stuff. Sorry, I know it's always a distraction. I love it. So this particular topic, God started to speak to me about it a while ago, actually, and something happened last week. And like over the week, I mean, from that time to like even up until like 3 o'clock this morning, God was just downloading. Yesterday at work, we had this great workshop, and this particular word kind of kept coming around, and it was adaptability and flexibility. And I was just like, God, what do you want me to say? Because you keep talking. So this is the reason why we had this message planned since yesterday, because this is how heavy it was on my heart to talk about this. Okay. This is how heavy it was to talk about it. God is like, you're going to talk about this. So I'm going to talk about it. Right. So a lot of us have these rules, right? I'm a rule person. I have a lot of rules. I have a checklist for everything. And I will tell myself, these are the things that we are supposed to do, that we're not supposed to do certain things. And God has been really correcting me that no, that's not how that works, right? Yes, rules are important, right? We all have rules, but we always got to leave that little bit of space for God to do what God is going to do. And I think what really brought this up for me, if you got my book, Dear Single in Love, I wrote that book in 2018. It came out 2019. And that particular book, I share one of my rules, right? One of my theories. And I share how God broke my rule, right? God did not play the way that Tanisha plays. And I so like when it comes to dating, I feel, and I'm making I statements because this is for Tanisha, okay? I used to feel strongly that if you were in like a financial crisis, you should not be trying to date, right? You should not be trying to date someone. That was what I stood firmly on for a while. Now, y'all, I don't know. A lot of y'all might be new. I don't know. But thank you for being here. I appreciate you being here for sure. But I had a really bad financial crisis back in 2016. And it lasted until about 2018. And I remember when that situation happened, in my mind, like trying to meet someone new was never in my cards, right? That was not something that I was like, oh yeah, let's meet a new guy. No, my focus was how I'm gonna get this mortgage paid. My focus was how I'm gonna get some food in this house. That was my focus. My focus was not on building a new connection, a new relationship. So that was my rule, right? So I had this really rigid rule. And so I wasn't on dating apps. If anyone was trying to approach me, I was like this, like tunnel vision. Like I'm focused. I gotta get the bag. I gotta get the bills paid. That's all that I cared about. And it's not a bad rule, right? So this is something that we see people talk about social media, relationship coach, you should have your stuff together financially, right? That is a really good rule. But when God has something that he needs to get done, he's going to break that rule, right? He's going to break your blueprint. And so when I met this gentleman told me, like, look, I want to still get to know you. So let me talk about a few things that I did, and this is going to bring reference back to the book. So in my book, the first thing that I do encourage people to do, anytime we meet someone that we are interested in, right? Again, this is where you have some form of interest. Doesn't mean it's going to be your husband or your wife, but anytime that we meet someone that we do like, what, I kind of can vibe with them. God, what am I supposed to do here? Right? You can have those conversations with God. And I encourage you, because I think so often so many people close doors because of their rigid rules and because they did not have a conversation with God about this person at all. And then some people just let everybody in and they forget that they have a rule, and then God just be like, what about me? So the first thing that everyone needs to start doing, this is not even going like into the order of what I want to talk about. First thing that we need to do is get into a conversation with God. It can simply be, God, did you send this person into my life? Right? Every person, and I'm talking about the opposite sex, right? Or of any sexual interest that you have. That's how I'm gonna put it. Right. So if you meet someone and you, especially if you're in a season that you're about to break your own rules, this is where you have to say to God, God, am I supposed to, did you send this person into my life? Right? If you get an answer of yes, you must move forward. Forget about what your rules say. Remember what I say? When you pray and if you hear a yes, then you must move forward. Forget about whatever your rules say. And so thankfully in 2016, I did that because I was in a need, right? I didn't know how God was going to bless me. I didn't know who God was going to use. And this is something else that people have to understand. We don't know how the help is going to come. We don't know. It's not something that's going to be clear. We also have to remember the help is not always going to come from people that you already know. Okay? Because I was in that situation and told people, hey, I have no groceries in my house. And some people said to me, dang, I'm sorry to hear that, right? And these were men that at one time wanted to be with your girl, allegedly, and they have the abilities, right? I'm not asking you to buy $500 worth of groceries for a family of five, right? One person, 50 back then, $50, $75 probably could have got me a lot of groceries, right? So again, sometimes you have to allow the people that God is trying to send into your life at the new time, during the new season that we have defined as being this season that we're not to have any connections or no new people, whatever, however you want to categorize it. And then you're going to realize that this is what God needed for you to have. Okay. So again, I know this is probably sounding all over the place, but this is one thing I said. I want you to get into a space of discerning and saying, God, if this is what you want, please give me clarity. Okay. So your rules are perfect, right? Your rules are so helpful. They got you through life. They got you through life. You've been thriving. You've been out here busting it out, right? However, your rules are not going to be how God does everything. How he did it the last time, it doesn't mean he's going to do it the same way the next time, right? We create these rules because we want to feel safe and we want to be in control, right? So again, Tanisha's known for a checklist. Tanisha's known for a bunch of rules. However, that is not going to get the results that God needs. Okay. So God, he doesn't care about your checklist. His plans are limitless. He's like, I can do all things. And this is the reason why we can't shut out certain doors. Because if God tells you, yes, I did send you into this person's life, or I sent this person into your life, and you already in this mindset of, no, I can't receive new people right now because, oh my God, this is too much for me because I have this rule and my rules say, and God is like, if you allow me to be who I am, I can show up for you. Right. And when I met that gentleman, I try to block it. I know, I'm interested, but I'm not in the right space. I had the mindset, right person, wrong time, right? We have that kind of mentality. And the one thing that he said that allowed me to stop, because I knew this was God intervening, he said, I feel like God is bringing us together so that we can be a blessing for one another. And this was on our first date. And I'm looking at this boy like, boy, if he only knew what I was dealing with, because I wasn't like vocal and I wasn't really open about like what I was actually dealing with. I was just kind of like speaking in code and going all around the world. He didn't know the precise problem. He didn't know exactly what it was. I just was like, my life is in shambles. I don't intervene with new people until my life is back in order. And this man said, I feel like God is going to send us here together to bless one another. And within 2 months, God did. Okay. So you have to also understand that. Like I said before, discernment is going to help you to get out of this blueprint. If it starts feeling like this is going against your rules, is going against how you normally do things, your Robert's rules of order, and that is what you're feeling, then it is time for you to say, okay, God, did you send this person into my life? If we just get into that, just ask that question. We got to get into that question. Did you send this person into my life? Because if you send this person into my life, then I'm going to allow them. And whatever happens, it's going to fold because God is he's organizing this. He's putting this into your plate. So your wisdom is going to tell you that you know your boundaries. But I want you to realize that faith is going to say, stay open to how God might move beyond your plan. And when I say to you, that story in 2016, when that man, we went on a date and this man sat next to me and I didn't say anything to him. I'm just sitting here crying, tears in my eyes. I needed food in my house, right? No one knew that I was dealing with this. No one knew. He didn't know. No one knew. My friends didn't know. And I'm just sitting here having this silent prayer with God next to a man that I just basically try to block out of my life because I was not in the financial stable life that I desired to be in, right? I was in my mindset is this is the no dating time because right now my life is in shambles and God put someone next to me into my life at that particular season because he said, I have a plan. And when I left that bookstore, we was at Barnes and Nobles. When we left that bookstore, and that man stood in my face and he said to me, he said, do you need food? And how I looked at it as like, you want to go to a restaurant? I was like, sure, I can eat. He was like, no. I'm feeling like God is telling me to buy you groceries for your house. Blew my mind. Okay. Sometimes that's what God is going. He just needs that opportunity because you said that you needed help, right? And so because it's the new person that's coming into your life with the help, we try to block that. We try to block that new person from coming into our lives and helping us because we're waiting for the people that we are familiar with to come in and do whatever we think they're going to do. And I'm here to tell you, and I knew this from I'm speaking from firsthand experience. In 2016, God was sending nothing but miracle workers into my life to bless me. And I didn't know these people. I didn't have history with these people. They had no way to keep a running total of what I've done for them, what they've done for me. The people that, and this is no shade against anyone that I knew in that season, because I understand God needed me to have become open to how he can be a blessing. So this is why sometimes your rules are blocking your blessings. Your rules are blocking you from going out there and accomplishing and receiving such amazing things because you have placed these big rules that God said it's the time that you got to let me be him. Let me be God, and you got to put that rule to the side. That rule might have worked 364 days out the week, but this one day, this rule has to be broken because God has to do what he only can do. And so many people don't understand that. So you have these rules. Sometimes you got to be adaptable. Sometimes you got to be flexible. Sometimes you're going to have to break your own rules. And it's not because God is trying to make you a hypocrite. No, God is reminding you, I'm still God. So you sat here and you created this laundry list of what you're not going to do, what you're not going to accept, what it has to look like. And I'm going to come in real quick and I'm going to remind you of who I am. Like I need people to understand this is how deep it can be. It can get that deep. But you have to get that deep. You have to stand on your faith, right? So that's why being adaptable is a part of faith. Adaptability is a part of faith. Because you have to know right now is not the time for me to stick to my rules. Because these are not rules that God gave. Because all throughout that Bible, if it was one size fit all, everybody in the Bible would have did the same thing. But it wasn't. So you have some people that was drunk, some people that was homeless, some people that were prostitutes, some people that, was dealing with healing or needing healing. Like everybody had all of these different rules. And if this was the case, if God wanted everybody to have this one perfect slate and this one perfect life, then everybody would have been on the same page. But he uses these situations to stretch us and to show us that he's in control, not our little rules. Our little rules are not in control. He is. So it's time for you to start stretching yourself and allowing yourself to be used in that moment by God. Whether you're going to be the person to be the blessing or you're going to be the person to receive, whatever it is, this is something that you have to do. So, of course, I have a prompt for y'all because I can't go without having a prompt. Where have I created a hard rule in my life that God might be asking me to surrender to his wisdom and discernment? Oh, I'm sorry, my hand. Right? Where have I created a hard rule? And I've done this many a times. Like this is the one about the guy is only one example. I've done this. So this happened to me with jobs. I used to have this hard rule with my students because I teach community career development. And I would tell my students, like, if you see a job and the job hasn't, if the job posting is more than like 2 or 3 weeks, don't even bother. Unless it's something that you really, really want, then go ahead, take a chance and apply for the position. Oh, baby. Why did I say that? Because literally, God was like, yeah, I want you to apply for this job. In my mind, I'm like, this job has already been hired. I created this whole narrative. They done hire someone. The position has to be filled. This position is not. There's no way that it's still posted and it's been over. I mean, by the time I think I actually applied, it was probably like a month from when they actually posted the position, and I still applied, and that job was still actually available, and I actually got hired for that position. So it's like, we got to just realize we mean well when we put out these hard rules. We really do mean well, but it doesn't work out when God is like, no, I need you to do what I need you to do the way I need for you to do it. So I want to stop there because I think that's a lot. That's a lot. If you do not know, on tomorrow, I will be having a free class. The link is in the description. The link is now coming up to you in the in the description. This is a workshop where we are going to focus on the second half of 2025. So we are looking at the future of 2025 from July through December. And we are saying to ourselves, we still got time to get things done. And I am going to do whatever I need to do in order for me to do it. So we are going to have a digital virtual vision board session. So you will come with your vision board already. If you have a vision board, you can go ahead and you can bring that, and we're going to reflect and we're going to go through. It's a whole activity that I have, and I'm inviting you. It's totally free. You don't have to pay for anything. You just have to register, and you have to register on Eventbrite. So I do encourage you, if you are interested, join us tomorrow. Bring your wine, bring your drink, your soda, your water, and let's just have a great conversation. Let's really reflect on what we did not accomplish in 20 25 first half, and what can we now shift and focus on for the remainder of 2025 and get you this new digital vision board that's going to help you. You can print it out at like Staples or Office Depot, but we want you to have this so that you can now get focused, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope that you actually do decide to join us. I probably will stream it on Facebook. I'm not really sure, but it might be streamed on Facebook for like the first 15 days or something like that. All right. So yes, I'm here every morning, 7 a.m. Central Time, 8 a.m. Eastern, on Facebook and on YouTube. Share, like, subscribe if you're watching me on YouTube. Hit that notification bell so that you can be notified every time that I go live. I go live Monday through Friday, every single morning. So you will always receive some form of notification if you hit that bell button. And then you can go ahead, you can look through various episodes. We have been doing morning inspiration with friends for the last couple of months now. I think we started in March. It started as a 21-day challenge for myself, and it just spiraled into more. And I'm thankful that I'm still here and rocking and rolling, and we're building it. I just created a new Facebook page. If you did not get a link to join and follow our Facebook page, please go ahead and do so. Look for Morning Inspiration with Friends. It's my beautiful face. It's me in the studio. I'm recording for one of my projects that I need to finish. I know I need to get these things done, so I'm going to get them done. But yes, so my page is not hacked, but you can definitely follow me. But yeah, I love you all. Have an amazing day. I'll be back here tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central for another amazing God-inspired message or teaching that God wants me to release. But I hope that this message really resonated and hit and it touched home for the people that it needs to touch home for. I'm your girl, Tanisha Shanae. Be well and be blessed.